Good afternoon. Hmm.
It's me.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh no, I said, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
That's good. Best way to be.
How about you?
A little tired, but I'll be fine.
You ready to get into the conversation? So, the topic is, and with this topic, you can kind of like ask me questions too. So it's not like it's just all on you. But I can barely hear you. I don't know why, but I can hear you a little bit.
Gotta fix my mic. Is this better? Can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, it is. Well, before I ask it, what did you think about the other topics we talked about so far?
Mm, I feel like both topics was good. We got input from each other. Got little. It was good. 2 seconds. I'll be back.
Yeah, that was like one of the few times that 2 seconds actually meant 2 seconds. But yeah, so you like the other two topics we talked about?
Yeah, it was very informative. And I got to hear your input on it, so it was very informative.
Okay, so the topic today is, do you feel like you have surprised anyone with your growth?
I believe so. Believe so. And the reason why I say that, I feel like as human beings and as individuals, we grow every day. It may not be something that we knowingly know that we do, but I feel like with trauma, experiences, and just with life, you handle things differently than you did in the past or prior.
Yeah, I think I have definitely. I know I have. Like it kind of sound weird because people might be like, "Well, how do you know if like people do tell me sometimes?" And I think it's one of them things where like sometimes people focus on the negative instead of the positive because people like let's say three people give you compliments in a day and one person give you a negative comment. Sometimes people like to harp on the negative comment instead of focus on like, wow, three compliments today. So I think it's one of those things where like I feel like people have told me about my growth, but then those times where there are times when it's people who say negative things, who may say something negative, I do tend to sometimes remember that instead of like, wow, how many times have people actually said like, wow, you're doing a great job and stuff like that. But I said that to say, yeah, I think I've surprised people because I've surprised myself. Like, have
Got
you
it.
surprised yourself?
Yeah. And to go back to what you just said, I feel like, I mean, I get it, and I think we do it subconsciously, like we focus on the bad instead of the good. But you gotta just enable yourself to process the good than the bad. Sometimes the bad could be like people tell you the bad not to like hurt your feelings or to like get under your skin. It's just like they could see, like they see your growth from before until the time now. and maybe they see potential of you trying to fix the negative to turn into a positive. But I feel like everybody don't react or think the same, man. You just got to focus on the good. It's like manifestation. If you keep thinking about bad things and bad things keep happening, you kind of bringing it onto yourself. 'Cause that's what your mindset is about. You putting energy into the negative instead of the positive.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself a positive person or negative person?
I say 70 30. 70% positive, 30% negative. And I wouldn't even say negative because like I won't really like put too much thought or too much energy into the negative. Because I feel like when you do that, it becomes draining. And if you're a person that like can't control their emotion or like suffer from like depression, anxiety, that 30% could turn into 90 if you don't think about or process it correctly. Like I just think do my best to think about the positive. Nobody want to hear negative, but it's part of life. We're not perfect, and I feel like if you put all your energy into like the positive things, you can notice a negative and do better next time to try to make it positive.
So, have you always been a 30% negative person?
No, I feel like before it was 50-50, especially like dealing with like people like in relationship. Like I learned to get better with that. And I feel like that's like a lot of people, that's like something a lot of people should work on, like, especially like dealing with a partner. Like if you're a person that think about the negative and you get into like a argument or like a situation with your partner, people tend to focus on the bad than the good. Like your partner could do eight things right, but they focus on the two things that they did wrong for the day, and they kind of make it about them, and that just become toxic because now you don't want your partner feeling like, damn, I did XYZ good. Why are they only focusing on the one bad? But
So,
I would say I got better at it. It was 50-50. Now I would say 70-30. That's the group.
how did you get from 50 to 30?
Therapy, reading, books. Like I've been doing a lot of reading, especially like self-growth, positive mindset, listening, talking to people. So I feel like that's one way to like grow, like hear from experiences that other people have and listen to like how they overcame it or how they process it. It might be similar to yours and it'll be a conversation because they're relatable.
Therapy, was that your decision?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
like, how did you hear about it?
can you repeat that question?
Yeah, how did you hear about it?
Okay, about a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I researched it. A friend did a recommendation say that I needed therapy to stop listening to like my friends and get like an outside person that doesn't know too much. I researched a good therapist and I went from there.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I feel like nowadays, especially like in the black community, they think therapy is bad. I mean, I get it. I was hesitant at first because it's like I'm going to a person that I don't know, expressing my emotions and feelings to them and trying to hear their advice. But after a while, like you be like, it's like you taking out like it just become like a relief, especially hearing it from like a person that is not one-sided. Yes.
I think that in my case, I used to be a negative thinker. I I think I saw a lot of negative thinking growing up. around, like being around certain people, it was common to think negative. The topic of conversation was negativity. So it's like when it came to positivity, it was like kind of foreign. Like it was like I
That's what
didn't even
change.
yeah.
That's what change do to you. Change is always foreign at first because it's something that you're not accustomed to. But if you put in the effort and the work to get it done, it won't feel foreign anymore. And that's what growth is. Growth is about coming out of your comfortable side, your comfortable zone, and doing things different to achieve a different result. You gotta, you need growth to mature and to get a different result. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and getting the same result, you gotta try something different.
Yeah, it was like I was the people that I was around when I did, I think I saw a post that was kind of saying like when you bring positivity to the conversation or a solution to the conversation, people don't want to hear it. And I resonated with it. Like I really felt it because at the time I feel like when I did say something positive, it would just be like
One ear out
maybe
the other.
yeah, like or too different. So it was kind of like I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna be positive because I see that's how I thought back then. I was like, I'm just not gonna be positive because I see when I be positive, it's like this weird thing.
Weird energy, weird vibe. I get it. Some people don't want to change. Some people is too comfortable and stuck in their old ways. And I'm not gonna say they don't know better. They just don't want to progress. It's like baking a cake. You know, some people read the instructions, others don't. Let's say I'm the person that don't read the instructions but think I know the answers to bake a cake. And every time I do it, I end up burning the cake or end up not producing the cake how it looks on the box. I would be a fool to continue to do the same thing and not change.
Yeah, I used to think negative and stuff, but then I realized like wow, I'm a very positive person. Like I can be a very positive person. And I just start feeding into that more and more. And I just start saying like, you know what? I don't care if people don't understand it or don't get it. I'm still gonna be me. So,
Happy you learned that, and that's I can say that's part of growing up. Finding what works for you and what's best for you and doing it.
but I think that those same people might be surprised because they probably thought like, wow, she decided to I guess do her own thing or she decided to actually grow or she decided to actually do what she wants to do, like something like that.
Sometimes you just can't feed into the thoughts of negative people. I mean, yeah, it hurts sometimes when it's coming from peers or family members, people that you thought has the best interest for you, but you just gotta figure out what works for you, what's best for you, and do it. If you keep listening to the negative thoughts or feeding the negative thoughts, it's always gonna be negative. You gotta find what's best for you.
Now I really do understand why people say like who you surround yourself with matters because I think like if I'm around people who are positive and who bring more of that out of me, I can only imagine. Do
I
you feel
agree.
like do you feel like right now you kind of have that?
Yes, I do.
That's good.
I definitely do. And it brings the best out of you. Because when you think you're like you've done enough or you feel like you're right where you need to be, like you feel complacent, comfortable, they challenge you to do better. And then when you do better, you look back and like, wow, I've came a long way. I didn't know I could get this far. You need people in your corner that have the best interest for you and believe in you and speak words of affirmation into you. We're like plants. If our environment bad, we won't grow. But if we're in a good environment that have enough water, enough sun, enough energy, we're gonna blossom. Yeah, environment definitely have, I would say, like a big reaction to how you are as a person. If you're in an environment where it's always dark, dull, and everybody's negative, you're gonna think that's the only thing that's available in life. And then when you finally see that it's not, and you try to break free, they gonna look at you like you're different, you're wrong, because again, they stuck at where they at, and you're elevating, you're growing.
And like I think I've grown. I know, like I said, I feel like I've grown more than what I thought I could in a way. Like so I know that's why I feel like I know when it comes to certain people, I feel like they probably surprised because I kind of surprised myself and I'm continuing to surprise myself.
It's a good thing.
What about you?
I would say the same, especially now as of recent. I would say I could agree and say the same.
Do
If
you
you
have
want,
any? Yeah, you can continue.
if you want change, you gotta make the change. You just can't just sit and think about the change you want to do. You gotta put in work. You gotta put in effort.
I think something else that I used to do besides thinking negative. Mm, well, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wanted to like we since we on the topic of environment and stuff. There, I feel like to even give a little bit more about that, I would say when you are around people that are not sunlight, that are not watered for you, it kind of sometimes depending on the person. Like for me, I was like, well, and you kind of said it too, but like I kind of didn't want to grow because I didn't see the people around me growing. So I was like, I want to stay right here, you know?
Yeah, I
So
get it. But I think it's all about mindset. Sometimes you push yourself for better. Sometimes your environment pushes you to do it. And the reason why I say environment, like you could be in a bad environment, you could get fed up of seeing bad things happen all the time, or just feeling drained and depressed, or having anxiety. It might forces you to want better, and that can promote you to find your light, find your way to make it better. But I'm happy that you you change your thinking and you change your surroundings and actually allowed yourself to grow. Because there's people that's older than us that again still stuck in their ways and refuse to change or refuse to do something different.
yeah, I just think it's crazy though. Like I'm gonna say it, but I just feel like I can only imagine being in their position because I feel like if I was looking from their eyes, it could seem like wow, like I've grown. Like like let's say you got two students and one of them just super good at like whatever it is, and they just like making straight A's, and then the other person kind of like struggling a little bit. That's probably a bad example. What I'm trying to say is kind of like me growing is not to shit on anybody. Like I'm not trying to do that, but I feel like that's how people may feel.
I get it, and I could see how it could come off as that. I've learned. Like you can't control how people think, how people feel. You just gotta do what's best for you. Some will get it, some won't. Like the example that you used with the two students, I could go two ways. The student that's always doing good, they could have sympathy for the person that's doing bad and they can help out. Or they could keep doing good where the person that's bad could be motivated. Like, listen, I'm tired of getting D's and F's in class and and student A's keep getting A and B. Maybe they'll challenge themselves to put in work to do better. Like, it's all about mindset. But you can't control or dictate how somebody feel or direct their emotions. You can tell them about it, but it's up to them to process it and to do what they have to do to make it better. You know they're saying you could lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to to drink it. Like I could give you the blueprint. I could be the smart student. I could tell you this is how I get A's and B's. It's up to you to use the tool I gave you to become better or just sit where you're at and not progress or grow.
I just got a very beautiful visual, I think, too, or just a visual about like
Listen.
different plants. So let's say one person is plant A and another person is plant B. I come in the garden store and I look and I like, oh, I like plant B. You might come in the garden store and you might be like, oh, I like plant A. And I feel like that's how people need to look at people when it comes to people when it comes to how people grow, because some people, let's say plant A might be like, wow, I want to be like plant B, but you'll never be plant B. You're gonna be plant A. You were never
Yeah.
created to be plant B, but like they might look at plant B because plant B might be growing and twisting and turning and but
I get it, but again, it goes back to like people mindset and how people process things.
do you feel like plant A has a right to be jealous of plant B?
Yeah, that's the reason why I say yes is because people are entitled to their emotions and to their feelings. But to sit and dwell about the negative or why I'm plant A can't be twist my arms like plant B, I feel like it becomes exhausting, it becomes draining. And then it stopped me from growing because I'm putting my energy into the bad instead of good.
Do you have
Yeah.
any questions?
Yes, I do. I have questions. You said that you notice yourself that you you made steps to be to grow. My first question is, when did you realize like you've changed or you become a better person than you were?
Mm, I feel like how I react back before I knew I reacted in certain ways when it came to certain things. But then like I remember one time when I was in a relationship and I felt like they said something that made my heart drop. I feel like before I kind of knew I was growing before. This is just a specific example. But before, I feel like I would have just lashed out, just like been angry, mad, just. But this time, I kind of was just like, it is what it is.
Got it. And what are you doing to continue to elevate and make sure that you're growing? 'Cause I feel like as adults, we gotta grow every day. We can't just like get to one stage and say, okay, I'm done. I'm done growing. I'm where I need to be. I feel like we gotta keep growing to get to where we need to be.
Um, I want you to answer that question too, though. The first
Gotcha.
one.
Oh, books. I've been reading books. I think I sent you like two books, like self-empowerment books. I'm looking at one right now, Atomic Habit, and the other one is kind of far, but books. I just read books that's self-empowering and like just that challenge you mentally.
Well, the first question you asked was, how did you know that you were growing? So that's the one I want you to.
Yeah, I know I'm growing. Like now I would say like instead of trying to win the argument or to be petty and outdo the other person, I just think I ask myself two questions. Is this even worth it? And then the second question is I try to put myself in their shoes to try to understand how they feel about the situation, and I try to think about it. Well, if that was me, would I react the same way? Do they have a right to feel this way? And I try to like meet them in the middle before it was like F them. I'm gonna prove my point and I'm gonna leave if they respect it or not. Now I try to like understand both sides and try not to be selfish
So,
and communicate, and I communicate a lot. Before, like, if I felt like I was getting annoyed and I didn't care about the argument, I'll just let the other person talk and I just stare. I got better at communicating.
so like when you say petty, like what's an example of being petty?
Staring at a person while they argue and not giving them feedback, or just walking away from the argument, or doing something to get under their skin to aggravate them.
Wow. So like what's something that you feel like can get under somebody's skin?
It depends on the person and the situation. Argument.
But like looking at them while they like explaining themselves kind of thing is what you
Yeah,
mean?
laughing at them when they arguing or yelling at me, or just matching their energy, matching their voice. Like I feel like when you arguing, it's the two people arguing at themselves, you're never gonna get your point across. Like I will try to match their energy. If I see they're being petty, I will try to do something worse just to piss them off even more. Or like if I'm the person like I don't really curse a lot. So if you cursing at me or using like harsh words, I'm gonna return the harsh words back. And like I learned to not give people that type of energy because at the end of the day, sometimes yes, you win the argument, but you probably lost a friend or you probably like you just no good come out of it.
And where did you learn that behavior of, or where do you feel like that comes from as far as like the matching energy and stuff like that?
Matching energy, I would just say just being childish. The reason why I say being childish, because I feel like that's what ch kids do, or being childish do. Instead of like trying to meet that person, match that person, and try to like solve the issue, it's just to make it worse because you just want to prove to the other person that you're unaffected or you're unbothered by it. You can't do that in corporate America. You can't do that in a relationship. Do that in a relationship, you're never going to be happy because your partner's going to eventually get tired and leave. Can't do that to your boss when your boss tell you to do something that you don't want to do. They're gonna fire you. So you gotta learn to grow up and find different outlets to release that pettiness, that angerness, and just communicate better and try to just resolve issues without being petty. You can't be a business owner and petty. You get mad because you make an appointment and a person is late by 5, 10 minutes. Now you sending them off because they're late. You gotta find a balance.
So when did you kind of know, like, okay, like when did you become aware of that, like when did you become aware that you were being petty, or like this is not something that you want to continue to kind of do?
When I kept getting the same result over and over. I guess I won the war. I guess I won that battle, but I didn't win no war. I could say in relationships, I could say with friends, I could say with just like it depends on the situation, but like you after a while you start to think, why is this always happening to me, or why am I always getting the same result? Like I used the example of baking a cake. That's like me keep baking a cake and not reading the instructions and then getting mad that the cake is not coming out the way I want it to be. You got to change something eventually to get the result that you want. So instead of like s- pointing fingers at the other person, I took a look in the mirror and like maybe I could have done this better to get a different result. Maybe I could have did this to get that. And once it start working, you just know what you need to focus your energy on and do better at.
To answer your question, honestly, I feel like growth happens for me kind of naturally. I do have like certain things that I do, but I wouldn't say that I can't say like I learn with when it comes to my environment, when it comes to the people I'm around. I feel like we kind of talked about that. Just certain people, I'm open to listening to certain people because I trust them and they end up teaching me something or they get me to do things that I probably wouldn't typically do, which I end up learning certain things. But ultimately, really, I don't really force my growth. I kind of just meditate and sometimes I will have things that come to me like after I meditate
Mhm.
or before or during, I'll have certain things where it'll be like reflection. I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like reflection moments that'll come across my mind. Like this is, it's I don't know how to really explain it. It's like answers to a test or something. It's kind of like this is how this situation went, and this is how you can go about it. And I don't know. I have those moments.
That's called self-growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we all do it. But that's called self-growth and managing. It's just called self-growth. Like you realizing how you could have, what you could have done to make the situation better. Reflection of life, or reflection of the decisions that you make.
Yeah, and it's also like just sometimes I get things about like how other people did me and how certain things wasn't my fault or just I don't know, but when it comes to growth, I have a lot of my growth has come very, very naturally in moments that I least expected. So,
As long as it happens. And one thing I could say, not to cut you off, always thank the people that's there for you that make you grow. That's one thing I'm learning to do more now. Is just telling them thank you because you never know. Like they may not know that they're helping you grow, but like sometimes thank you go a long way and encourage the. It shows that you appreciate them and they can appreciate you. Like we as people, we gotta give flowers to people when they're here instead of when they're gone. Even if it's like a simple good morning or like something simple. I feel like a simple thank you or I appreciate you goes a long way because you never know what that person going through. Some people going through a lot, but are superheroes to the people that they call friends or family. Sometimes a simple thank you, I appreciate you, or a little words of encouragement goes a long way.
words of encouragement. Yeah. Well, I thank you and I appreciate you very much.
Same here, likewise. Remember, we're like flowers. We need a good environment to grow.
Well,
You know that quote, you pour into me, I pour into you. It's the same thing.
I need to see that quote too. But yeah, have a wonderful night.
Same to you. Thank you.